Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel Learn with SAK. Today we are going to discuss an important topic in economics called demand. Demand is one of the basic concepts of economics because markets and business depends heavily on consumer demand. Whenever people buy goods and services, demand plays an important role. In this lecture we will discuss the meaning of demand, law of demand, functions of demand, demand schedules, changes in demand and many related concepts with examples. By the end of this lecture, you will clearly understand how demand works in the economy. For understanding demand in detail, let us understand what demand actually means. Demand is not simply a desire to buy something. Demand means that a person must have desire to buy, ability to buy, and willingness to buy. For example, suppose I want to buy a car worth rupees 50 lakh, but I don't have enough money. This is only a desire, not demand. But if I have money and I am willing to purchase the car, then it becomes demand. Therefore, all wants are not demand. Demand means the quantity of a good or services that consumers are willing and able to purchase at different prices during a given period of time. Demand always include quantity, price, time, and ability and willingness. For example, suppose a customer buys 2 notebooks at rupees 100, 4 notebooks at rupees 80, 6 notebooks at rupees 60. This shows that as price changes, demand also changes. Law of demand. The law of demand states other things remains constant. When price increases, demand decreases, and when price decreases, demand increases. This means there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Suppose ice cream costs rupees 100, consumer buy 2 ice creams. When it costs 70, consumer buys 4 ice cream. When it costs 50, consumer buys 7 ice creams. As price falls, more people buy ice cream. Demand depends on many factors, not only price. Demand functions can be written as QD is equals to price, income, taste and preferences, and advertisement. Suppose the price of a mobile phone remains constant, but people's income increases. So many people may buy expensive phones. Similarly, attractive advertising campaigns also increase demand. Now let us discuss an important concept called demand schedule. A demand schedule is a table that shows different quantities demanded at different prices of a product during a specific period of time. In simple words, a demand schedule helps us understand how consumers react when prices change. Now let us look at the example. When the price of the product is rupees 100, consumer purchases only 2 units. The reason is that the price is relatively high, so people may avoid buying larger quantities because of their limited budget. Now suppose the price decreases to rupees 80. Since the product becomes cheaper, consumer can now afford to purchase more. Therefore, quantity demanded increases from 2 units to 4 units. Next, the price further decreases to rupees 60 because the product is becoming more affordable. Consumers increase their purchases and demand rises to 6 units. Finally, when the price becomes rupees 40, consumers purchase 8 units because now the product is much cheaper. So what do we observe here? We can clearly see that as price decreases, quantity demand increases. As price increases, quantity demanded decreases. This shows the inverse relationship between price and demand, which supports the law of demand. Now, individual demand schedule. Individual demand schedule shows demand of a single consumer. For example, suppose Ali buys apple. Cost 200, he buys 1 kg. 150, he buys 2 kg. When rupees 100, he buys 4 kg. And when it costs 50, he buys 6 kg. This schedule represents only Ali's demand. Market demand schedule. Market demand schedule means the total demand of all consumers in a market. For example, Ali buys 2 units, Ahmed buys 3 units, Sarah buys 5 units. Total market demanded is 10 units. Conditions of law of demand. We already learned that the law of demand states other things remain constant. When price increases, demand decreases, and when price decreases, demand increases. The word other things remaining constant are very important here. In economics, this is called ceteris paribus, which means all other factors remains unchanged. The law of demand works properly only if certain conditions remain constant. Let us discuss them one by one. Consumer income remains constant, taste and preferences remain constant, population remains unchanged, prices of related goods remain constant, future expectations remain unchanged. Number one is consumer income remain constant. The first condition is that consumer income should remain unchanged. Suppose a person earns rupees 50,000 per month and buy 2 pairs of shoes. Now imagine that his salary increases to rupees 1 lakh per month. If the price of shoes remain the same, he may now buy more shoes because his income has increased. Similarly, if income decreases, he may buy fewer products. So if income changes, demand can change even without any change in price. That is why for the law of demand to work properly, consumer income should remain constant. The second condition is that consumer tastes and preferences should not change. For example, suppose a certain mobile phone brand suddenly becomes very popular because a famous celebrity starts promoting it. Even if the price remains the same, many people may buy that mobile because of their changing preferences. Similarly, if a product becomes outdated or unpopular, demand may decrease. Therefore, the law of demand assumes that people's taste remains constant. The next condition is that population should remain unchanged. Population directly affects market demand. Suppose a city has 1,000 people and demand for food product is stable. Now imagine the population increases to 2,000 people. Demand for food, housing, clothing, and transportation will naturally increase even if prices do not change. So changes in population can affect demand. Therefore, population should remain constant for the law of demand to operate correctly. The next condition is that prices of related goods should remain unchanged. Related goods include substitute goods and complementary goods. Substitute goods, products that can replace each other, for example, tea and coffee. Suppose the price of the coffee increases, people may switch to tea. As a result, tea demand may increase even though tea prices did not change. Complementary goods, products used together, for example, cars and petrol. If petrol prices increases significantly, people may reduce car usage or postpone buying cars. So changes in prices of related goods can affect demand as well. The last condition is that future expectations should remain constant. People often change their buying behavior based on future expectations. For example, suppose people hear a rumor that mobile prices will increase next week. Even though prices are currently unchanged, many people may buy mobile phones immediately. This increases demand because consumers expect future prices changes. Similarly, if people expect prices to fall in the future, they may delay purchasing. Therefore, future expectations should remain constant. Now let us discuss an important question in economics. Why does the demand curve slope downward from left to right? We know from the law of demand that when the prices of a product decreases, quantity demanded increases, and when the price increases, quantity demanded decreases. Because of this inverse relationship, the demand curve moves downward. There are several reasons for this behavior. Let us discuss one by one. First condition is law of diminishing marginal utility. This law states that as a person consumes more and more units of a product, the additional satisfaction received from each extra unit gradually decreases. Let us understand this with an example. Suppose you are very hungry and you start eating slice of pizza. The first slice gives very high satisfaction because you are hungry. The second slice still gives satisfaction but less than the first. The third slice gives even less satisfaction. By the fourth or fifth slice, you may feel full and receive very little additional satisfaction. Since additional satisfaction decreases, consumers will only buy extra units if the price becomes lower. This is why when prices decrease, people buy more products, causing the demand curve to slope downward. The second condition is income effect. Income effect means that when the price of a product decreases, the consumer's real purchasing power increases. In simple words, consumer can buy more goods with the same amount of money. Let us take an example. Suppose you have rupees 1000 and one notebook costs rupees 100. You can buy 10 notebooks. Now imagine the notebook price falls to rupees 50 with the same amount. 1000 you can buy now 20 notebooks. Notice that your income did not increase, but because price fell, your purchasing power increased. As a result, people buy more products. Therefore, lower prices increase quantity demanded and create a downward sloping demand curve. The third one is substitution effect. Substitution effect means consumers switch from expensive goods to relatively cheaper alternatives. People generally prefer products that provide similar satisfaction at lower prices. Let us understand this through with an example. Suppose Pepsi costs rupees 120 and Coca-Cola costs rupees 180. Now, many consumers may think, why should I spend more money on Pepsi when I can buy Coca-Cola at a lower price? As a result, many customers may switch from Pepsi to Coca-Cola. This increases the demand from Coca-Cola and decreases demand for Pepsi. Another example, suppose chicken becomes expensive and fish remain cheaper. Many consumers may purchase more fish instead of chicken. This switching behavior is called substitution effect. We already know that demand can change because of price. But sometimes demand changes even when the price of the product itself remains unchanged. When demand changes because of factors other than price, the entire demand curve shifts either to right side or the left side. If demand decreases, the demand curve shifts left. If demand increases, the demand curve shifts right. Now let us discuss the factors one by one. Changes in income. People's income directly affect their purchasing power. Suppose a person earns rupees 30,000 per month and buys only basic items. Now imagine his salary increases to rupees 60,000 per month. Because of increased income, he may now purchase better clothes, expensive mobile phones, more food items, luxury products. So demand increases even though prices remains the same. Similarly, if income decreases, people may reduce their spending and demand falls. The second factor is population. Population size affects market demand. Suppose a city has 100,000 people, the demand for food, clothing, and house will be according to that population size. Now imagine the population size increases to 300,000 people. Naturally, more people will require food, transport, education, houses. Therefore, demand for product increases. On the other hand, if population decreases, demand may also decrease. Change in taste. The third factor is change in taste. Consumer preference frequently change due to fashion, trends, technology, or social influence. For example, suppose a new mobile phone model becomes popular because even if the price remains unchanged, many people suddenly want that product. Similarly, old products may become less popular over time. For example, DVD players were highly demanded in the past, but now demand has fallen because people use streaming platforms. Therefore, changes in taste can increase or decrease demand. Changes in price of related goods. Another factor is the price of related goods. Related goods include substitute goods and complementary goods. Substitute goods are products that can replace each other. For example, tea and coffee, Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Suppose coffee becomes expensive, many people may switch to tea. As a result, demand for tea increases. Now let's discuss complementary goods, which are used together. Example, cars and petrol, mobile phones and charger. We have discussed earlier all these. Suppose petrol prices rise sharply, people may reduce car usage or delay purchasing cars. Therefore, demand for cars may decrease. The fifth factor is advertisement. Advertising creates awareness and attracts consumers. For example, suppose a company launches a television campaign for a new shampoo. People repeatedly watch advertisements showing better hair quality, attractive packaging, special discounts. Many customers may become interested and buy the product, therefore demand increases. That is why companies spend billions of rupees on advertising. Expectations about future prices. This is the last factor. People often make purchasing decisions based on what they will think happen in the future. Let us understand the example. Suppose people hear news that petrol prices will increase next week. What will happen? Many people may think, if prices are going to increase next week, let me buy petrol today to a lower price. As a result, people rush to petrol stations and buy more petrol immediately. Demand increases even though the current price has not changed. Similarly, if people expect prices to decrease in the future, they may postpone purchases. Another concept in demand is extension of demand. Extension of demand means an increase in quantity of demanded due to a decrease in price. For example, price of a pen. When the price of a pen is 50, the customer will purchase 4 pens. When price decreases to rupees 30, the customer will purchase 8 pens. Demand increases because of a price reduction. This movement along the same demand curve is called extension of demand. Contraction of demand. Contraction of demand means a decrease in quantity demanded due to an increase in price. For example, price of juice rupees 60, 10 bottles will be purchased by the customer. When price increases to rupees 100, 5 bottles will be purchased by the customer. Demand decreases due to higher of prices. This is called contraction of demand. Now let us discuss change in quantity demanded versus change in demand. Students often confuse about these two concepts. Change in quantity demanded is caused by the price changes and movement along the same curve, while the change in demand caused by the non-prices factors or entire curve shift. For example, if price of a tea decreases and people buy more tea, this is change in quantity demanded. And if people income increase and they buy more tea at all prices, this is simply called change in demand. The important concepts of demand and its related topics. We discuss meaning of demand, law of demand, demand functions, demand schedules, demand curve concept, changes in demand. Understanding demands help business and economics make better decisions. I hope you find this lecture easy and interesting. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Allah Hafiz and see you in the next lecture.